Hey everyone, today we're going to be recreating Wordle quickly using Python. So let's go ahead and get started. So hopefully we all understand what Wordle is. So for example, the word of the day could be morn, right? So morn was the word of the day. You have to guess this word. Say for example, you guess the word sale. Supposedly the best word to guess with. As you can see, sale, none of these letters match, right? So we can just print out blank spaces. This indicates we have no correct answer. Say, for example, though, we guess the word maple. Now, maple has M as the correct letter, so we'll keep that. A is incorrect, so that becomes underscore. P is incorrect, so that becomes an underscore. R is incorrect, so that becomes an underscore. And N is incorrect, so that becomes an underscore. So now we can try moons. So moons, M is already correct. O is now another correct one. O again, it's not there, so we can ignore that. N is a letter in the word, but it's in the incorrect space. So instead of using colors, we can just print a capital N, and then S isn't in the word, so we can leave it like this. Then we can guess the word, and that's your correct answer. So that's how Wordle works. On the website, you have this grid thing. So you guess one by one, it shows you colors. As I said, I'm going to just use capitalization instead. And what we're doing is we're checking letter by letter. But you have a fixed number of guesses you can have, so 6 guesses, and then the game ends. Now, I think some people have extensions where it goes longer than 6, but yeah, we can change that. So why don't we hop into Visual Studio Code? Let's call it Wordle, actually, Yodel, copyright, you know? And we'll make sure that we think about our inputs and outputs. So if we go back to our whiteboard, let's see. So what we're doing is every guess, we're checking letter by letter, okay? So we'll have a for loop for the number of guesses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And each for loop will check for the length of the guess against the length of the word. So this means we need to also handle the length of the input to make sure that they're inputting the correct length every time. So we can deal with that later. But for now, let's just handle a simple input and check if we can sort of output something. Okay, so we'll define our method as solve, I guess, and we'll take an input of a string. Okay, and we can just print yay or something. Okay, and let's just run our method, and we can use the word morn that I was giving the example with. Okay, so we can save that. Let's open a terminal. Okay, let's run Python on Yodel. Okay, so great, it prints. So we want to do this for 6 guesses, right? So we can do for I in range 6. And for 6 guesses, what we're going to do, like I mentioned, we're going to go letter by letter, right? So we'll start with M, check this against the guess. O, check letter by letter. And if we go back, say if, for example, it was maple, we check, okay, is M the same? If so, we print it. Okay, if it's not, then we print a blank letter, and this so on and so forth. If it's in the word, we print a capital. And then we just do that for the length. So we can do for J in range the length of our string, and we can do that comparison, but we don't have anything to compare against right now. So our input from the user will say guess is equal to input, and then this is going to be our phrase which we give them, right? So we can say, what is your guess? And that should basically store whatever the user inputs in the variable guess, and then we do that comparison. So now there's the case where the guess that the user gives is just the word. And instead of having to check this every single time, we can just check it on the first iteration, because there's no point doing it for every single iteration. So we can say if j equals 0, if string equals guess, then return, and we can print you guess the correct word in I plus 1 guesses. Okay, so that's if they get it correctly. And we're only checking that on the first letter of each guess, because there's no point doing it any other time. Now, every other time, what we can do is we can check letter by letter, right? So if it's not the first iteration, or if it still is, but we haven't got this condition being the input being the actual word, whether this be the guess number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going to be checking letter by letter. So we can say if guess of j is equal to string of j, then what we can do is we can print that letter, print guess of j, like that. And we can make sure that we have no ending so that we don't have a new line and everything. Okay, now here's another case. We need to check that, well, if the letters aren't the same, so say for example, we are back in here and we see moons, right? We have moons and we're like, oh, and we get to n and we're like, okay, well, n is now capital. It's not the same letter matching, but it's in the word, right? So we enter it as a capital. Now I'm going to be doing a check to see if the number of n's is less than or equal to the number of n's in this word. Because say for example O is in the word, but the count of O's in this guess is greater than the number of O's in the input word. So basically less than or equal to or greater than it, like you can sort of reverse it, depends how you use it. Okay, so let's do that over here. Elif guess of j is in the string and guess.count guess of j is less than or equal to string.count guess of j. Then what we can do is we print that letter, but we print it in uppercase. So we print guess of j upper, and then we do end like this as well. And if not, then what we can do is we print the underscore. I also need to make sure I have a new line cancellation thing here. And then we also need a new line after each guess. Okay, let's try run this. We can say maple. There you go. M is in the correct space. Let's try moons. There you go. O is in the correct space, but N is in the incorrect space. We can try a random other word like moans. See, it's good. It's going well. Then mourn. There you go. So that's pretty much how to build a Wordle. Let's try to make this a bit better, I guess, by checking that the length is correct. We can simply do this by adding a flag. So we can say flag is true. Then we can say, well, if length of guess is not equal to the length of our string, then we can say print you entered a guess with the wrong number of characters. You should enter a guess with length of string characters and not length of guesses like you did. Okay, we can set flag to false, and now we have our flags, and we can say while not flag, and set a guess again. Input of enter another guess if length of guess equals to length of string. We can set flag to true. Slight spelling mistake there. And let's see. Let's run this. So we can say like this. That's the wrong length. Paint is the correct length. N is in the word, but in the incorrect space. So let's see this, and it keeps telling us until we get it correct. Okay, there you go. So I hope this has helped. I hope this has been useful. What of course you could do, you can make a Yodel list of words, and you can say like accent, apple, drive. Okay, and then you can do import random, and you can do number equals random.rand int from 1 to length of Yodel list. And you can say guess. Word that you have to guess now is going to be from Yodel list of number. And number is going to be random every time. So now every time we run this, it could be any word from that list. So potato, I'm going to guess. So it's now an 8-letter word, so I'm guessing it's subscribe. Leak code. Yeah, subscribe is 9 letters. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed. This is a fun little project. Obviously, you can get a whole CSV file, add the quotes, and hey, you've got a quick Wordle game, which, what is it? It's about 20 lines. It's about like I mean, like there's stuff in here which is just handling extra stuff. It's pretty simple. And add a GUI if you want, then you've got Wordle. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.